Hey everybody, how you doing? Great to see you today, and welcome to Beetle Brad's channel. So great to have you here, definitely. Wow, starting into fall and getting the colder weather out. You guys nice and cold where you are? Man, it is cold where I am, that's for sure. Well, today I'm doing something just a little bit different in topic. James Griffith, who's got a channel. James is a great guy. He's got a great channel, great stuff. A couple of videos back, James had a whole video talking about what is a vinyl grail. Excuse me, loss of words there. Grail. So something that's a vinyl grail. And right away, my mind and my thoughts went to, as I watched his video, it's the most expensive album in my collection, or it's the most collectible album in my collection. And I really thought it through, and I thought, yeah, I could really show some albums that I've got that are very collectible or very pricey or very hard to get. And yeah, he showed some of those, but also James showed some albums and had a different twist on the whole thing, to where James showed, excuse me, albums that were basically not valuable, but they were valuable to him. They were albums that had sentimental value. And lots of times, I didn't think of it, but you know, there are a lot of albums that I've purchased that do have sentimental value. They are just maybe the run-of-the-mill regular Beatles albums, or you know, some other collectible album, and I've enjoyed it, but I bought it somewhere special. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about, is showing some valuable ones and not so valuable ones, but albums that have meaning to me. So, you know, talk about grails and different ones. Excuse me. This album, Please Please Me, which is a grail to me, this is really neat because this is an original first pressing of Please Please Me, but the first pressing of this is from Australia. So this is really quite nice, quite rare, kind of hard to get and all that kind of stuff from Australia. So to me, this was considered a holy grail and a pricey one. So that was kind of neat, kind of rare. And then this next one is more of a sentimental one, because this one is a VJ album of picture songs and stories of the Beatles on VJ. There's the VJ. And this was my sister's album. And for those of you who don't know the album, it has a partial gatefold here. Opens up like this. But this, I remember growing up listening to this album. And this was my sister's album. Don't tell her I've got it now. Don't tell her. Shh, Beetle Brad's secret to everybody else, right? But it's in really good shape. But it's, you know, it's got a little bit of dog-eared at the bottom here and a little bit at the top. But, you know, it was lovingly played and lovingly used and all of that. And this has a lot of sentimental value. Yeah, it might be a collectible. Yeah, it might be rare. Then again, it might not be because of the condition. But to me, it's very valuable because of my sister, and who I appreciate and enjoy being with and all of that. Let me set it down over here. So yeah, so that's my next record. This next one is Elvis Presley, Moody Blue. And a lot of you say, oh, wow, Elvis, Moody Blue. This is a great album, terrific album. And you'll say, well, Beetle Brad, that's not that rare of an album. Well, yes and no. When this album came out, I've got the rarer one, which was pressed in black. They were pressed in blue vinyl, and you can find those all day. The blue vinyl ones are everywhere, but the black one is a little bit harder to get. So to me, when I found this, I was all excited. My eyes lit up, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And the guy who had it in his record store you know, was selling this for a really good price, because this is a really kind of a grail in my mind. I was really, really excited to get this. And this wasn't like an album that I bought 30 years ago or 15 years ago. I bought this probably like 7 years ago, maybe 8. But I was excited to get that. So that, to me, that was a really, really great grail for me. And it was very exciting to find that record, plus all the other ones that I've shown you. This next record is very, very special. This is the Beach Boys, sorry about the glare, the Beach Boys. And it's the original record, and I grew up listening to this album. This album was my brother's album. And like I said, it's an original stereo pressing, and it's kind of tough. This is my brother's record. And my brother has now passed away. He had a very, very severe cancer, and he had so much radiation and so many tests and all that kind of stuff, and went through years and years of bad tests and bad chemo. They sliced him open from head to toe almost, about every couple months, cleaning him out, scraping the cancer and digging it out. He survived a bunch of those, but after a while his body just couldn't take it. My brother was older than I was. So sad to say, I lost him. He was a great guy. My brother had a lot of musical influence on my collection and what I liked and what I didn't like. My brother had a lot of pull in record things, and we got into concerts and all kinds of stuff because he knew the people, or I met a lot of the rock bands and musicians. So I grew up with this Beach Boys album. It meant a lot to me because I just recently, as a lot of you have watched, I went through 2 severe cancer operations myself. The first one was really rough, and so was the second one. And as you know, I was in intensive care for a little over a month, and it was pretty bad. But praise the Lord, I survived, went through, and missed my brother dearly. But I'm still here to share my vinyl and to talk to you and be with my friends and my wife and still have a good time and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. Moving on. I know that's the heavy part of the video, but yeah, I miss my brother a lot. My brother was a fantastic guy. He really was. Extremely knowledgeable of rock and roll, tons of rock and roll, and like I said, he partied with everybody, from B.B. King to REO to the Police to, well, I could just go on and on of all the bands. He's met everybody. Pink Floyd, Beach Boys, anyway. I've done some videos about him. The next album I want to show is a grail to me. It's fun to buy albums. It's exciting to buy records. But when you have friends that are close to you and friends that are good friends, not just because they give you stuff, but they are your friends, and you guys have a lot of friends. But this album means a lot to me. This was given to me by a friend, and this is Helen Shapiro. And I really like Helen Shapiro. Those of you that are my overseas people, you guys know who Helen Shapiro is, especially my English people. She did okay here in the States. She was more popular in '63 when she toured with the Beatles. But Helen Shapiro, I really like her, and I've got a fair amount of stuff from her. I just got a Greatest Hits CD and all that kind of stuff, but I won't ramble on too long about Helen Shapiro. But my friend met Helen Shapiro and got her autograph for me. So there's her autograph of Helen Shapiro. So, I mean, that's just really incredibly nice that he sent this to me because he knew I liked Helen Shapiro so much. I mean, what a great guy, just in general, that he would do that, to send that to me. Not that I'm trying to get any records out of him or sentimental, but it's got a lot of sentimental value because 1, it's from him, and 2, he was so kind and considerate. And sometimes that's what a grail is. Something that means something to you, not necessarily the value of saying, oh, this is the most expensive album I've got. But now as I'm getting older, it's the albums that I've collected that aren't that expensive, or those that people have given to me. This next album is the Beatles, and my wife and I were in Canada, and I got this album in Canada, and this is there isn't anything special about this record. It's just the regular pressing, but I was happy to get it in Canada for one. And the other thing is, with this album, it's got the whole Paul is dead kind of thing, because the candle's blown out, and this was kind of one of the harder albums to get at the time, because when this came out, this was very hard to get. Still is kind of a little tricky to get. You can still find it online. But with the candle blown out, it was kind of all around the period during saying Paul is dead and all that kind of stuff. So this has a lot of sentimental value, being with my wife and going to Canada and enjoying the beauty of Canada and finding a couple record stores. So yes, this is a nice album. I've really enjoyed this one a lot. And it's all Tony Sheridan. There isn't anything Beatle-wise. It's Tony Sheridan, which is earlier Beatles music and all of that. So it's in the early days of Tony Sheridan. This next album I received from one of my viewers in the VC community. And this really means a lot to me, because I was in the hospital and I was so sick. I lost a lot of weight and had a lot of issues and problems. And this friend in the VC got this for me on Record Store Day. Sorry about the glare. But this is the Badfinger album. And this is really very nice. This was a special Record Store Day, which was really a great album. I thoroughly have enjoyed this, and it means a lot. It really does. This album means a lot, that she would take time and her money to get this for me, like the other viewers that gave me a couple albums that I showed, or I mean viewers, friends, this one being a viewer, of doing that for me. It was very nice of her to do that. Extremely nice. This next one is also from a friend of mine, and I really like the Green Hornet. I've even got an autograph of Van Williams, who's the Green Hornet right there. Gosh, got a lot of glare. This is a great album. I really enjoy it because it's got the Green Hornet theme on it and all that kind of stuff. And this is just a nice album. It's still in its original plastic. And a friend gave this to me, and this is along the lines of this album's out there. It's not like it's extremely rare. It's on the RCA label. And like I said, it's not really rare, but it's still the original shrink wrap. And it just means a lot to me, because this album was very kind. Very nice of him to get that for me to add to my collection. So, you know, sometimes a Grail, vinyl Grail, isn't necessarily the most expensive one, but it does make it exciting and fun, and that one was a very exciting and fun one. Now, this one is probably one of the most valuable ones I've got in my collection. Now, we're talking about money, we're talking about rareability, we're talking about collectability, and this one kind of hits that Grail of Grails. And this is Meet the Beatles. This is a U.S. pressing, American pressing of Meet the Beatles. It's a mono pressing, but I've got the sticker down here, which is the promotional sticker. So yes, this copy of Meet the Beatles is a promotional copy. And the promotional copy is very hard to come by. And it will run up all kinds of figures on this album. But back then in '64, this is like a early '64. They didn't stamp them on the actual record of saying promotional. It's down in the corner of saying promotional copy. And here's my original paper sheet that goes in with it, which makes it even more collectible. And then this is the actual newspaper that goes along with that, which really, really pumps up the pumps up the volume, the rarity, and the collectability. So yeah, that's really a gorgeous piece because, like I said, it's got the paperwork with it to show that the Beatles are coming to America, and the whole article and newspaper and the whole thing of that, which is a really, really nice collectible. And like I said, the record is in just mint condition. Nobody wrote on it. The back is just in fantastic shape. The record itself is just absolutely minty, minty, minty condition. So, I mean, I just thought it was a great album to have, and that's definitely one of my big Holy Grail albums. I've got a few more like that, but I didn't want to make this video too terribly long, but I wanted to share with you some of my Grails. And for those of you who do videos, make a video about your Grail. Do you have a couple sentimental albums that are Grails to you, or do you've got some very collectible albums? I know some of you that I watch, you guys do have some very collectible albums. And it doesn't have to be Beatles. It could be Stones or Beach Boys or the Byrds or the Animals or Hermits, or it could even be the B-52s. You know, it could be any album. But I want to say thank you to James for coming up with this idea and letting me piggyback on it. And like I said, for those of you who do videos, make a video of your Grails. Or just leave a comment down below about mine. I know this has gone a little long, but I kind of wanted to make it special and kind of great. And I hope you enjoyed my video. And as I say on my channel, I'm out of here. Take care, everybody. See ya.